And we are live. What's up, beasties? It's me. It's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Welcome back to another episode of Beast Friends Forever. Woo! And I am excited. I have an awesome guest tonight. One that we planned this quite a while ago, but we are doing it now because he has a new book set to come out later this month. We're excited to talk about. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. I have had my eye on the books from this author for a long time. I remember seeing book one back here above me and thinking that cover was just magnifique. And then I've loved every cover that's come out since. And then I reached out and I've talked to him, and he is an awesome dude. And we found out that he grew up in the same area I currently live in, which is pretty cool. And I'm talking about an awesome author, but an even more awesome person, and that is James Lloyd. Is it Dulin or Dulin?
Yeah,
right?
Dulin. Yeah.
I've been saying it. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you. I will take awesomer. I'll be awesomer. That's cool.
I like that. You just put that on your website.
Yeah. I'll throw that on my book blurbs from now on.
Yes.
James Lloyd Dulin, even awesomer.
Even awesomer.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, let me shout out some people. We got a nice group already in here. We got Ryan Skeffington, Skeff Dog's here. Timothy Wolf is here.
Hey.
What's up, Timothy? Adam Bassett, what's up?
Hey.
Pippin Took, the Shire Hobbit, is here. What's up, man? I'm glad you can be here. And let's see. Alex is here. What's up, Alex?
Hey there.
J.A. Bryden is here. What's up? Let's go.
We got a great group so far.
I know. And JCM Byrne. What's up, man?
Hey, Joe.
All over. Let's see. Yes. I know. I do say Skeff Dog every time. I don't even know why I started saying that. I thought I heard it somewhere, but now I do say it all the time.
That's a high honor. You're inspiring some tattoos.
I would love it. Yes.
It needs to have the profile of you with the big beard right into Skeff Dog.
Yes, you're right. That would be amazing. Grifkin is here. James pronouns are he and us, him. Yes. Clever.
I need to change that for next time.
JCM says, true sign and authors made it. Triple B book name. I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate you saying it. Mr. Roro is here. What's up, man? Thanks for being here. Tim, yes, we are all Beast friends. We have an awesome group. And I'm guessing, I think I turned on something that became available during live. So Tim, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to look into that more. If it gives you options to get things, I'm sorry, I have zero answers. It just something popped up earlier today, and it was like, turn this on for your live chat guests. I'm like, all right, but I have no idea what I turned on. So hopefully we can find a way for you to get a crown. If not, I'll let you know before the next one.
Crowns for everyone.
Yes, everyone deserves a crown.
That's your campaign promise?
Yes. Tim's not going to be able to relax now. He needs to know how he gets a crown. All right, Sarah Beth is here. What's up?
Hey.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
That's good news.
The broken binding one's nice. Yeah. Yes. All right.
The broken binding just they're currently doing a pre-order for book 3, and they paired it with the novella. So
they did?
Yeah. Wow. So you can get.
I'm adding that to the
description deal.
That's sweet, man. That's a really good deal. Because I got to get book 2 and 3 and the novella. I have them on my e-reader, but I only physically have book 1. I have to remedy that. Yeah. That is awesome. All right, so let's talk about the why we're here. The biggest piece of exciting news. You got a little something coming out later this month.
Yeah. Only a Grave Will Do, the last book in Malitu, coming out June 24th. I'm really excited about it. I just published an article as part of like my book release tour
Uh-huh.
on Before We Go blog, basically saying I don't know how to feel about releasing the last book of a series. Like it doesn't feel like it's hit me yet.
Okay.
Um, like it's weird to say goodbye to these characters, but at the same time, I'm really excited for people to see
Oh yeah.
the last chunk of this story. Um, but it's weird, and so I asked a bunch of authors that I connect with, Tatiana Obi,
Oh yeah.
NC Scribmore, and Zach Argyle, and so I asked them a little bit about what they did or how they felt about releasing their first series. Um, it's interesting how people take it. Zach is taking an interesting approach, and he's like taking some time to just feel like he's getting the series right. So he hasn't released anything in like 2 years, and he's like
Man.
just
Yeah.
taking his time through book
Mhm.
one of his next thing.
Yeah, his next thing. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, JA's got a good idea for you. Here you go. Spin-off.
I have an idea for
Okay.
another series in the world. Um,
Nice. Okay.
I'm not going to get right into that because I want to play around with some other things. There's a completely new, there's a completely new world kind of inspired by Arcane, the TV show on
Oh,
Netflix that I
nice.
want to get into.
Okay.
But I think I'll come back to this world with another series that touches on some different aspects of this world.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool. All right. So you already answered my first two questions, which was, is this just a trilogy? So this is the final book of this
Yeah.
story. And then I was going to ask what's next, and you said you have an idea for something else in this world. So
Yeah.
is that where you're going next, or is there something else before then
So
that you
I'm
have?
gonna do the Arcane thing.
Okay.
I I actually am kind of jealous of some authors that do like one book in one world and then another book in another world and bounce back and forth. I feel like that might keep me creatively inspired a little bit more than
Mhm.
focusing on one project at a time.
Oh
So I
yeah,
think I might do something like that.
I like it.
Um, but I'm also playing with some short stories and some novelettes and things like that. Uh, so hopefully, you'll keep on seeing a little bit more from me every now and then.
All right, I like that. I like it. Let's see. Mr. Roro likes it. Arcane is cool. I've only watched season one. I
Yeah.
gotta watch season two. But
Oh,
I
it's
hear
it's one of my favorite shows.
that's so good. I gotta
I,
get on.
I actually didn't realize it when I started talking about it, but I'm wearing a sweatshirt that has V's tattoos on the back of it.
Oh, that's sweet. You do love it.
Yeah, I do. It's a
Oh
really cool
man.
show.
Oh, that's so good. All right. I had to read this to make sure I could understand what I was saying, but not you being zesty is here. What's up? Took me a minute. I got it though.
I feel
um,
like the lowercase uppercase thing is just fucking with people with
oh yeah,
dyslexia. It's like,
just asking us to
yeah,
to have a problem. Oh, let's see. Uh, John Stevenson's here. What's up, man? Yes, Tim, I agree. Arcane is a masterpiece. I have to complete the masterpiece.
yes,
Um, Pippin Took had a good little thing here. He said he read the Before We Go blog article yesterday, and that was great. But yeah, that's something I think we don't think about as readers. Is we get sad and bummed like when we binge through a series or finish it and it's done. We don't think about how you guys as authors go through the same thing because you
yeah,
really like spent time in that world and with those characters and they're like family, and then it's just
yeah.
done.
I have been contemplating and just playing around in this world for over 6 years, just thinking about what it would be and playing in these characters' minds. And so it's like reading and editing the last few chapters. Every time I go through it, I'm like tearing up because I'm like, this is it. I'm like, not
Oh,
gonna write these characters again. But it's such a weird thing because in some ways I'm like I'm ready to be done with it and try something else and try
yeah.
something new, and then other ways it's a hard goodbye.
Hmm.
um so I think right now it's really hard to feel like it's an accomplishment because there's just so much wrapped up in it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure it takes a while for the dust to settle and it to really like settle in.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Adam asked a good question. He said, "What's the biggest lesson you've taken away from writing the series and completing it?"
Ah, um, I would say that as much as I really love discovery writing, like my first book was discovery writing, I knew where I wanted the series to go, but I didn't really have it outlined in much detail. As much as
Mhm.
I love that process of kind of telling myself the story with the first draft, um, I also learned that I think that I can do a lot more and a lot different things if I have it more planned out.
Right.
So like in between when I'm sending off this manuscript to editors and waiting to get feedback, I'm over here outlining my next book. But not only my next book, like detailed outlines of the series, trying to think
Oh
about
yeah.
where everything goes. Because book 3 was a lot of outlining to try to make sure I'm tying together all the loose
Oh
threads
yeah.
throughout the other 2 books and closing it off. But I think moving forward, having a more solid plan and a really detailed outline will help make all that come together a little bit more clearly. And then maybe I can have a little bit more fun writing it when I know that there's a safety net of a plan.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I like to
Yeah.
find out about my guest writing process, and that's part of it. But we'll
Okay.
get to it. Um, but I want to talk to you about two things with your books that I love. I love the covers, and I love all the titles. So let's start with the titles first. How do
Yeah.
you come up with these just catchy, awesome titles like "Only a Grave Will Do"? Like that is so sweet. But every single one has a
Yeah.
great title. Like, did you? Were they just random? I mean, they probably have something to do with the books, obviously,
Yeah.
but like, how did you come up with them?
It's actually a phrase from the world.
Okay.
So there are characters in world that have a magic ability to steal other people's magic. And within world, the culture has kind of demonized these people because they look at them as thieves, as betrayers, as corrupt spirits, which is what Malitu means in world.
Okay.
Um, and so they have a saying that is told in a lot of stories about these spirit thieves, which is no heart for a thief, no safe haven, only a grave will do. And so
Oh,
when I'm writing that in the first book, I'm like, I think I have my titles,
yeah, you do.
uh, which is great, but it also takes away the ability to do a title reveal because you read
Oh,
book
yeah.
one and you're kind of like, I know what the rest
I
of the
know what it's
series is
gonna
going to be
say.
called.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But it's still just it's so good. It's so good.
I like a good kind of poetic title. I mean,
Mhm.
Don't Bloody the Black Flag.
Mhm.
Also, like
Yep.
that just came out of there's a story that I wrote as kind of some lore for book one
Mhm.
in which way 200 years ago in India's past there was this large scale civil war between all the nations of the continent,
Okay.
and one kind of nomadic group was trying to bring peace, and in doing so they were waving a black flag to try to signal truce, and some things went down. So it's all like that's all about kind of trying to search for peace, and Don't Bloody the Black Flag kind of came out of that.
I like that. I wondered about that one too. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool to get that little backdrop there. Um, all right, let's see. Now, Mr. Rowe had a good question. Don't answer this. Keep it in the old cap rack because
Okay.
that's another thing I ask you about in a little while. But JA said, did you come up with the phrases first, or did they come to you as you wrote the stories? Like, did you know that going into the first book, kind of?
No, I didn't know what the hell I was doing with the first draft of the first book. But when I was writing, I like the idea of incorporating a lot of stories into the culture that is being played with in the story. So Aeneans have a history that that is passed down through story, and so I liked incorporating a lot of these past stories and bringing them into world. And I figured if spirit thieves were so demonized, then there'd be a lot of stories about them. And so that saying just kind of came out of telling these backstories within world. And then I was like, I really like the idea of having a trilogy where the titles mean something in world when it comes together.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that is cool, especially when they're awesome titles, but they also are like directly from the book and the world. That's awesome. And I agree with Pippin. I also loved "Don't Bloody the Black Flag." Very, very good. It's got me stoked to get into the books because you pack quite a lot into that novella. So I feel like seeing what you get to do in a huge book, like, well, not huge, but in a full size book. Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right. And then I wanted to touch real quick. Tim had said he appreciates your post about financial side. He thinks it's important for to be honest about how expensive it can get. So I think that's cool too.
Yeah.
That you do that.
It's really expensive. And like I've had to slow down on a lot of marketing and things like that just because I don't think most people are under any illusion that indie authors are making big money.
Right.
Unless you're in like romance, you can really pull out some money. Or if you're one of the top name authors in indie, you can make something. But I think it's really important to kind of share that because from the outside, even as another author, you look at other authors sharing like, I just hit this milestone, I just did this and that and the other, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're doing so much better than me.
Right.
And I realized that my book by no means, like my stories by no means have hit top charts in terms of like the overall indie community. But they've done fairly well. And I know that there are probably people going like, oh my gosh, this, that, and the other, and trying to compare themselves. So I think the more transparent we can be as a community, the more we can kind of tamp down some of those feelings of jealousy and inadequacy and imposter syndrome. So I try to share that out as much as possible about the journey.
Nice. I love that, man. All right, your covers. I absolutely love them. Yeah. Give your cover artist a shout out and tell us about how that process went, finding them and working with them. Did you give them just some generic ideas? Were you super specific? How did that all go for you?
Yeah, so I have two different cover artists. The first book is done by Felix Ortiz, and then the Don't Bloody the Black Flag, No Safe Haven, and Only a Grave Will Do are by Martin Motet. And I actually got scammed the first time I tried to find a cover artist.
No.
I was looking for a cover artist and I did the stupid thing of posting about it on Twitter and got flooded in my inbox with all these different people claiming to be artists that really wanted to work with me. I found, like, I looked through their portfolios. I found somebody I thought, like, this is a really cool portfolio. And then come to find everything in their portfolio, they just took from other places online. They didn't actually do anything in their portfolio. Jeez. I was able to work with PayPal to get most of the money back, so that's good.
Yeah.
But it really left a sour taste in my mouth. I'm like, I was so scared about working with anybody. And so the one artist I knew at the time was Felix Ortiz because Daniel Green had said Felix Ortiz is great, and his art is amazing.
I love his art. Yeah.
So I reached out and I was like, this is what I'm thinking for the cover. What do you think? And he was great. We had to work through several editions of what that cover would look like. Because the thief, I think all the spirits in world are kind of hard to hard to manifest in art because they have no mouth as a part of the world in their lore.
Okay.
Um, and the thief has kind of a two-toned face of black and white. So it just kept on looking like somebody wearing a mask,
Hmm.
like a superhero with a cape wearing a
Yeah.
mask. And so we had to play around with that, and we came up with what you see
I love it.
of the thief in her kind of shadow cloak looming over Kalo.
So cool. That looks awesome.
Yeah.
So then what made you switch it up to a different artist after that?
Felix just got too popular.
Yeah.
um,
I wondered if that's what it was.
it's I mean, it's so hard because as soon as a cover gets popular, that artist starts to get popular or can. Like I've just been talking with Michael Michelle, and he's done the re-release of Price of
Yeah.
Power and all of his new series. And Christopher Kant is starting to get much more much more attention, and his prices are starting to go up. And I understand from an artist perspective, like that's what you got to do. You got to
Yeah.
capitalize when you can and make sure
Yeah.
that you're getting paid for your art, which you
Right.
deserve.
Yeah.
But it also makes it really hard to stay consistent and book artists consistently.
Yeah.
So I immediately had to start looking for another artist who I thought could kind of feel like have a consistent art style, but also brought something new and interesting to the covers. And I really liked Martin's art for D.A. Smith's. I forget his name. I
Oh.
forget the book's name.
Hmm.
But it was a really dynamic illustration. And so I reached out to Martin, and we just kind of made it work. And he's been great to work with.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
cool, man. Well, it was worth it because your covers they just pop, dude.
Oh, thank you.
They're those type of covers that if you see them in the bookstore, you grab it and you're like, oh, I gotta have this. Or if you're scrolling, you're stopping to see what it's about. So well done.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's one thing that I kind of could glance from the inside outside in when before I published was like, you need a good cover,
Oh yeah.
or else you're going to go under the radar.
Yep. That's true. It's gonna help you stand out for sure. We had a couple more people pop in. Josh from Already Overbooked. What's up, man? Thanks for being here. And Cinna is here. What's up, Cinna? Thanks for being here. Yes, Josh agrees. The covers are sick.
Oh,
I think that's what he's talking about.
you.
I assume.
Or just saying we're two sick individuals.
Yeah, that's true. We are sick. Tim made a good point too. He said it's crazy how many scams there are considering most are broke. Like, what are they trying to scam? Come on.
I don't know why so many people think, oh, let's make a bot to go introduce themselves to indie authors and try to sell marketing promos to them.
It's wild.
It's every day I get new bots following me on Twitter, and immediately if you accept, you'll get something in your inbox saying, I wanna help you sell your book. I want to help you go wide. And
oh yeah.
like okay, I don't know what money they're after.
Oh yeah. I feel like and like for that stuff, I always think it's probably best to just you find someone and reach out to them, because then you've done some research. If someone's reaching out to you, like, oof, unless you know for sure who it is and you know they're solid, like it's just too scary nowadays.
I kind of follow the rule of I need to talk to authors that have worked with people first before I even reach out.
That's true.
So that is how I found the current editors that I'm working with that I'm really enjoying working with.
Okay.
That's, I've only focused on people that are connected to authors that I've either spoken with or I know are reputable. And so that has been my way of finding a good team.
Nice. Smart. It's very smart. There we go, Alex. I appreciate it, man. All right. So let's see. We talked about the covers and the titles and all that, but before we go further into anything else, why don't you just give us a pitch from the author in case someone doesn't know anything about your series? Let us know what your series is about.
Yeah. So this series is about a recluse warrior who started a rebellion, then abandoned it, and then he's dragged back into it when he comes across a young war orphan who's hell-bent on revenge, and she pulls him back into the world. So the story is a dual story where we get his backstory and we learn why how he started this rebellion and how he abandoned it and what happened to make him so jaded. And then it's also this story of this young girl with her mentor trying to survive a war-torn country and trying to figure out what to do with all of her anger. And so it's kind of told in that dual narrative framework. And it starts out really intimate in No Heart for a Thief. It's a very close story just about these characters' relationships with a lot of epic things going on around them, but they're focused really on surviving and moving forward. And then the more you get into the story, the further you get into the series, the more the stakes just keep on growing and they get more drawn into the epic scale of everything else around them.
Sounds good, man. It sounds good.
I need to find a way to say that in like 7 seconds, but
oh, but it wouldn't have been as good. It wouldn't have sucked me in like it did. All right, so I don't forget to ask. Cinna is the audiobook queen. She wants to know if you have audio for any of your books.
Unfortunately, no. It's too big of an expense right now.
Yeah.
It's something that I really want to do. I really want to do it right. I also am looking for like the perfect narrator. One thing that's difficult is, like all of publishing, publishing is filled with authors, narrators, publishers, editors, and many of them the vast majority are white, especially those that gain notoriety and have a platform.
Right.
And the main characters in my story are characters of color, and I want a narrator of color.
Yeah.
And so it's difficult to find somebody with experience that can bring some authenticity to the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to do it eventually, but it's going to take some time to get it right.
Yeah.
So we'll see when I have the time and the money and all of that to make it happen.
That's good. That's good. That's a good answer. All right, so we're gonna switch gears just a little, and we're gonna talk in a second about your journey into writing, your author's journey. I love to hear the story, but before we do, I have a question for you, James.
Yes.
Do you like dad jokes?
Let's hear it.
All right, I'll give you the option. I have one about a large dog and one about vampires.
This is fantasy, right? So let's go vampires.
All right. How do vampires start their letters? Like writing a letter. How do they start it out?
I don't know.
Tomb, it may concern. TOMB, tomb. Yes.
I feel like that's how do mummies start writing their letters.
I know. That's a bad one. That's a bad one. Right, let me tell you the dog one, because this one's pretty good. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you call a large dog that meditates?
I don't know.
A werewolf.
Okay. It got a little pity chuckle from me, so that was nice.
Oh, they're all so bad. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So hit me with it, man. Here we go. All right. Take me back to when you were just a little James, just a little guy. Tell us about some of the things that got you into fantasy first, like books, movies, shows, whatever. And then also tell us about when you started writing and when you decided, you know what, I think I'm going to write a book. Kind of walk us through that journey.
I think the thing that introduced me back into fantasy after I was a kid was Name of the Wind.
Nice.
so I picked up Name of the Wind, and I loved it so much. It's it's the book that I've read the most. Um, yeah, I've come back to it many times.
Okay.
The prose is just so beautiful to me. I really love the story. I hope that we get an ending at some point, but you know,
Right.
it is what it is. Um, but I'd never like writing a fantasy book wasn't a part of my thought at the time when I was reading that.
Hmm.
Um, Instead, I started to get into poetry.
Okay.
Um, I got really into when I was in college. I got really into Def Poetry Jam because we had HBO in the dorms, and so I got really into Def
Oh,
Poetry
nice.
Jam, and I started writing really bad poetry.
Nice.
Um, and that I was writing poetry for a pretty long time, and I got much better at it. I started competing in slams. I went to competitions. I
Oh,
competed in teams on the national level.
no way.
Um, so I got really
Good.
invested in poetry.
Okay.
Um, and but writing a book was kind of in the back of my mind as something that would be like that's too far fetched. It's too hard. I don't think I can do it. Like a poem, I can do a couple pages and edit that and make it something that I
Yeah.
like. But an epic tome, like that's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and then I just kind of my firstborn was coming, and I was
Okay.
like, if I'm ever gonna have time to do this, I'm gonna have time now
Right. Yeah.
before
Before they're
Sunny
there.
comes. And so I just started writing something that I've been like kind of fiddling with in my mind. Um, and it came out really bad. Uh, like it was a collection of words that made somewhat of a story.
Okay.
Um, and then I started like seeking out how to write a book, and I learned everything that I was doing wrong. I was watching a lot of like YouTube videos. I got into the Brandon Sanderson series on YouTube that was
Oh,
really
nice. Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so I was watching all these videos about what early writers do wrong and how to do it right. And then I was just editing, and then I decided like I need to read books that are going to inspire me to like really invest in the things I want to invest in. And so I heard that Robin Hobb was really great with characters. And
Yeah.
so as I'm editing the book, I'm
Wow.
reading the Farseer trilogy. And
Hmm.
so I'm like so inspired by that. And then I was like, I got to come back to Name of the Wind because like at least the structure of my story is inspired by Name of the Wind.
Yep.
And so I came back to that. And every time I'd read something else while I was editing, I would it would inspire me to change the story in this way, that, or the other,
Yep.
and kind of invest things into the characters that were missing. Um, and and I just kept on editing, and I started submitting to some agents, but it was just such a soul sucking experience trying to find an agent because for the most part you don't hear from people.
Right.
The first query I sent out got a full manuscript request, and so I was like, oh, this is going to be so easy. I'm going to get an
Hate it.
agent. It's going to happen. um, and then just months go by and you don't hear things from
Mhm.
people, and it makes writing less fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to safeguard this thing that I love.
Right.
uh, so I decided to look into indie publishing, and that's what brought me here.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you got here, man.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Um, what do you when you were a kid, were you into reading?
I was actually really into reading basketball biographies.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
I
Remember
would
those.
Yeah, I really got into reading books about my favorite basketball players. You know, Hakeem Olajuwon was my favorite basketball
Oh,
player of
nice.
all time.
Okay.
So I'd pick up anything I could find on
Yeah.
him. Would read books on Shaq and Jordan and
Oh, yeah.
Bird. And so that was what invested me in books. And then when people told me I had to read something else, something different,
Yeah.
and they turned reading into homework,
Yep. Yep.
I fell out of love with reading for a long
Yep.
time as a
Yeah.
kid
It happens.
because they made it something that I had to do. They made it
Yep.
a chore.
Yep.
Um, and to this day, if somebody gifts me a book that I don't ask for,
Yeah.
um, it's hard for me to be invested in it
Yeah.
because it feels like you're handing me an assignment.
Yeah.
And I don't want an assignment. I want something that I'm invested in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good way to look at it. And it's true. That's something that I noticed with my own kids and as a teacher with kids, like that's what happens. Kids
Yeah.
kind of fall out of love with reading. It happened to my two older kids, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen to my younger two, but I just feel like it does. There's no way around it.
It still
So,
surprised me that you have 4 children.
I know. I know. It's a
How
wild
are
life.
you? You must have a secret serum because you do not look old enough to have 4 children.
I'm 42.
No, you're not.
Yep, yep. I wish I was not. But yeah, well the trick was they're all 4 years apart. So then like every time one came along, when a kid's 4, they're somewhat like able to entertain themselves, you know?
Yeah,
Somewhat.
but but you're also reinvesting like you just got out of diapers and now you're
I
back in
know.
diapers.
And then you're back at the
Um,
square one, yep.
yeah,
And now all my friends, all our friends, a lot of them have little ones, and like my youngest is 7 now, so it's like we're like going to the other side
yeah,
where we can, and the older ones can help watch the younger ones, so we can go out if we want to go out. Where like all their other ones that used to be like, "Hey, can you meet us here? Meet us there?" I'm like, "Are you crazy? It's 9 o'clock. I'm getting my kids to bed." And now they're the ones that are like,
yeah,
"Oh, we were such jerks to you back when we didn't have kids and you did." So it's just it all works out in the end.
yeah.
How many do you have? I know you talked
I
about
have
your
2.
oldest. Okay, 2.
I have 2. I have a 6-year-old and a
You're,
3-year-old,
as I say, yours
and
are young. You're still in the thick
yeah,
of it.
and they're the reason why I needed to start at 9, so that I can make sure that they'd be to bed on
Yep,
time.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. See, mine, it's like I'm like, oh, none of them are gonna go to bed until after 10 now because none of them will go. They're too old where they're gonna be like sneaky and be like, he's busy. I'm gonna hang out and watch TV. So we'll see how that goes. But it's all right. They get up fine in the morning. It's okay if they go to bed a little
That's
late
good.
tonight.
Yeah.
Uh all right. Oh, we just had another person pop in. Gotta say hi to Britton. What's up? Some okie dude, Britton.
What's up?
What's up? All right, and then James or Joe said he's gonna send you his entire series now. And Adam said,
But that's
everybody.
actually a
And
series I want to read, so I'll take
you're
it,
like,
Joe. Send it
I
my
will
way.
I will take that. That is, I read the first book. I gotta get to the rest. That is
Oh.
his covers are awesome too, and his books are so much fun. I can't wait to get back to those.
Joe commented on my article that he's never going to know what it feels like to finish a series because he planned out like, is it 25 books?
Oh yeah, he did say something like that when I talked to him.
Yeah.
Joe, let us know how many books you got planned out. You're gonna be doing it for a while, and that's all right because we all
Yeah.
love Rohan. All right. So next up, I want to talk about writing process, like I told you earlier. So my first question, you touched on this a little bit earlier, so I think I kind of know where you're gonna land, but on the spectrum of plotter and pantser, pantser or discovery writer, and then the other side, plotting everything. Where do you think in general you fall when you're writing? And sometimes it can change just depending on the book, but in general, do you feel like you're right in the middle? Do you always kind of lean or cheat one way or the other? I know early on you said more discovery, but
I think I'm still finding that out.
okay.
Because early on it was 100% discovery. Well, I'm 95 because I knew where it was
Right. Yep.
ending. I knew
Yep.
some highlight points in the
Yeah.
middle. But yeah, it was very much discovery writing. Even with book 2, there was a lot of discovery writing in there. It was a little bit more confined because I knew there were more things that I had to
Yeah.
cover in book 2 that were set up in book 1. Book 3 had to be plotted out a lot more because there were
Right.
so many things that I had to hit to
Yeah.
to actually feel like I had a solid conclusion.
Right.
I think that I'll keep on figuring that out. I think so. I did rewatch Brandon Sanderson's latest version of his lectures. One thing that I like that he says is that no book is ever completely outlined. You know, everything is there
Right.
between any 2 points is discovery writing. And so, regardless of how well you outline, there's always discovery writing in the process.
That's true.
And I think that's one that helps me outline because I love the process of discovery writing. And so,
Yeah.
thinking about it and remembering there are still things that I'm telling myself and learning about this story as I'm writing it down the first time. That helps me. And then it also pushes me to kind of think about, um, you know, there has to be something flexible about an outline. It
Yeah.
has to allow room for changes and growth, and you're never going to know a story in its full form until you get it on the page.
Yeah.
If you outline a book where you have everything thought along the way, that's not an outline anymore. That's a first draft.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where I'll fall along the spectrum. I think I am trying very concertedly to do a better job really digging into an outline with this next book,
Mhm.
but I might find that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I'm still playing around with it.
That's good. I feel like that helps you grow as a writer every
Yeah.
time, not being stuck in one thing, trying things out and being willing to get a little uncomfortable and figure out what works best.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it. Good answer, man.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Before my next one, Joe did respond. He said 25, just like Dresden Files. Although I don't know if we'll ever get to that 25 in Dresden Files. It might take a while. The way things are going now.
It's what is that like 16 or 17?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, what was Battleground was 17, I think. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if we'll get to, because it's been a while since that's come out. There was something else I was going to say before my next question, but it'll come back to me. All right.
Yeah.
So my next question is, when you are getting ready to write a new book, do you do a lot of research? And what's like your favorite way to do it? Do you just use the internet? Do you read some stuff? Do you talk to people? Do you do all the above? Or does it depend on the book probably too?
I mean, I think it would depend on the book. For No Heart for a Thief, I mean, a lot of that it's not based on any one example of colonization in our history, but it's based on many different aspects of colonization that have happened all over the world. And so that was really based on my experience. Like I had taken a lot of classes on colonization,
Okay.
on freedom movements, and really investing time in reading books over just the years that weren't dedicated to research, but just on my interest around colonization and anti-colonization. And so I wanted to find a way to take that passion and put it into a series. And going into this next series, I think there's research can be a lot of different things. I want to try different subgenres out. And so I think there's going to be an aspect of thriller / mystery in this first book. So I want to read a few thriller and mysteries to see how they deal with pacing, how they keep it fast and moving. And because what I'm reading at the moment influences me in how I'm writing. And so I want to make sure that I'm using my reading time to kind of fuel that. And then it just comes down to research in the moment. Like I've never fought with a sword before.
Right.
So there's lots of watching YouTube videos about how to properly hold a sword and what happens when you're trying to actually fight against somebody wearing a Gambleson.
Right.
And so it's just a lot of random research in the middle of a chapter where you're writing a scene. You're like, how does this work? And then taking other aspects, like I used to do judo, and so understanding how bodies move in a fight, I can kind
Oh yeah.
of translate that into language, but then adding weapons into it is a different thing. And or I went down this deep dive because one of my characters in the second book um, brushes their hair in the waves,
Oh, okay.
and it's something that there's a whole big culture around. So I didn't realize how deep of a YouTube hole there was around waves, and
Yeah.
like the care that some people put into getting this pattern
Oh
into
yeah.
their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though it's just hinted at the book, there's a couple of lines
Yeah.
about it. I wanted to be authentic about what hair looked like in this
Mm-hmm.
culture, and being off and being truthful about that, and putting the most into it, making sure I was thinking about, well, you need hair oil. How are you going to get hair oil in this society? And
Right. Yeah.
more things than most people would think about when they're reading the book. It's just that hyperfixation for me when I'm writing.
Oh man. I mean, it's probably comes out good. I'm sure that makes your writing feel grounded and more like real. Especially I feel like I love that in especially in fantasy because you're dealing with stuff most of the time that's not real,
Yeah.
you know. So when you can have that grittiness or that realism to it where it feels you can tell when the author really put in that work to make it feel real. So kudos to you, but I'm sure that was quite a rabbit hole you went down just for that
Lots of
little bit.
very different cultures and
Yeah.
like subcultures that I was exploring. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Next up, when you are writing a book, so think more when you when you are all in on a book and you've
Yeah.
got like a deadline, you know you want to get it out by a certain time. What's your process like for that? Like, do you write every day at the same time, no matter what? Do you write in the same place? Are you more flexible, especially with kids? Do you just write whenever it works? Do you make daily goals, weekly goals? Do you just throw goals out the window and be like, I'm going to write when I can, I'm going to get it done by this time? What do you do for all
Yeah.
of that?
So after my kids go to bed is the only time of the day I get to hang out with my wife. It's
Yeah.
also the only time of the day I get to write. So those are two conflicting
Yeah.
priorities. So we eventually came to an equilibrium where Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I write when the kids go to bed. Then
Okay.
I write on the train into work because I have an hour and a half commute into
Oh,
work.
nice. Okay.
So that's when I get the majority of my writing and stuff done.
Yeah.
And then, on uh, the occasional time when I'll have some, like, I try to do a writer's retreat just one time a year where I take 3 days off of work, and like I'm focused 100% on writing. I
Mhm.
knocked out the whole first draft of Don't Bloody a Black Flag in like 5 days at a writer's retreat.
Wow. That's awesome.
Writer's retreat because it was just me in a
Yeah,
hotel.
yeah, yeah,
But that's sometimes when I get the most done.
yeah. That's
Um,
cool.
but it's hard balancing it um, with competing priorities, and I don't
Mhm.
want, like, my family's too important to me to
Right.
neglect. So,
Yeah,
but I also need to feed this part of myself
yeah,
that wouldn't
yeah,
be like I wouldn't be me if I didn't have a writing outlet.
yep, yep. I was just gonna say that. Like that's it, like, with any hobby or passion, like it's so easy to get so lost in just being dad and husband that
Yeah,
you kind of lose some of yourself. But it's like what you said, you to be the best version of you that is going to be the best dad and best husband, you have to stay true to that and feed that
yeah,
or you won't be that. So it is hard though because like you said, if it's a weekend or it's time you're going to have off, like it's hard to be like, all right, I'm out, peace out,
yeah,
deuces. Like I'll see you in a few days, like figure it out. But that's important. I think that's really cool that you do that, man.
yeah. And then I travel for work sometimes, and so I'll be writing on airplanes and in the
Oh,
hotel
nice.
room. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Where's your favorite place to write? Like, do you have a spot in your house, or do you prefer writing like on the move when you're traveling like that?
I've gotten into the habit of writing. I have my little home office because I work from home
Okay.
half the week.
Nice.
So I write down here, right where you see me right now.
I love the
Um,
backdrop, man. It looks
Thank
sweet.
you, thank you. Um, but it is nice when I'm traveling and there's nobody that could possibly be relying on me. That's
Oh
a
yeah.
nice freeing
Yeah.
experience. It doesn't happen too often, but it's
Right.
nice.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. All right. So last question for this section is
Mhm.
music. So do you like background noise? Do you like music? Do you do mood music depending on the scene? Do you like, if it is music, does it have to be non-lyrical? What do you do for that when you're writing?
When I'm writing, nothing. I'm in
Okay.
silence.
Yep. Yeah.
Partly because a lot of the time I'm stopping and reading it back to myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
I and any lyrics I when I listen to music, I'm a very lyrical person. I
Okay.
focus on the language.
Yep.
If I
Yep.
were to be listening to music, I would be focusing on the language, and I can't do that.
Yep.
But when I'm editing, there are often times, especially if I'm proofreading, we'll have
Oh yeah.
just instrumental music on in the background, especially if I'm on the train and I need to block out some noise.
Okay.
Um, but no, silence is key for me when I'm writing.
Nice. All right. Cool. All right. Nice work. Good answers to all of those questions.
Did,
So,
I'm on a job interview. Did I get it?
yeah, yeah, you got the job, man. You're hired.
Sweet.
No, this is the final test to see if you get the job. So,
Okay.
we're gonna switch gears in a minute, and for the last bit, I just have some questions for us to get to know you outside of writing. But
Yeah.
before we do that, we're gonna do a little game. I have some 1 minute mysteries
Okay.
that we're gonna see if you can solve in 1 minute or less or longer. And the chat is able to help you if they have any ideas. They can shout them out in there. Let me make sure we haven't done these three yet. All right. So sometimes these are really good and cool, and sometimes they're horrible. So we'll see which one you get. So I got three here. Do you want
Okay.
to do one, two, or three?
Let's go 3.
All right. Here we go. So I'll read you the case, and then it asks us the mystery or what we need to solve. And then there are some clues. There's usually 5 or 6. And as you go through the clues, they're supposed to get more obvious. So we'll
Okay.
see if you need any of the clues or how many you need. All right. So I don't know. This one might be tough. All right. We'll see.
Okay.
This is a hard one, man. After I read it to you, if you're like, what the heck, we can do a different one.
Okay.
This is a tough one. Might not be for you though. I don't know. We'll see. All right, here we go. Here's the case.
Yeah.
An aircraft takes off and moves quickly out of sight. The aircraft does not use gas, wind, nuclear, or solar power, but it flies further and faster than any other aircraft before it. What is the aircraft name? It also wants to know what its power source is. That'll be an extra credit question if you somehow know just what the aircraft's name is. All right. They usually play on words, so they're using aircraft on purpose because it could
Yeah.
be any type of aircraft. Do you want me to read the case
Um,
again?
no, I don't need it read
Yeah.
again. It depends on how broad the definition of an aircraft
I
is.
know. I know.
Um, like, does a glider work? A hot air balloon. Um,
It, do you want me to start giving you a couple of the clues?
yeah.
All right. This one will start to get you in the direction. So the aircraft is part of a fleet, and it usually all right, this one is like a trick clue. All right, it says the aircraft usually flies for 60 minutes at a time.
Is this like a bird?
It's not a bird.
60 minutes at a time.
Yeah. The next two clues are kind of dumb because they have to do with the fuel source. I'll tell you, maybe it'll trigger something for you. I don't know.
Okay.
The aircraft needs special crystals to fly. The fuel is based on an element with the chemical symbol Li.
Is that lithium?
It is lithium.
I
feel like the last clue is gonna. No one's getting this because this is a hard one. Like the answer is so dumb that it's like, why did they make this so difficult? Let me know if you want the last clue. I feel like you're gonna get it if I tell you.
Okay, tell me the last clue.
Okay, it says the crew and its aircraft boldly go where no others have gone before.
Is this Star Trek?
It is. What's the name of the aircraft?
It's the
See, now you're gonna play. Yeah. Wasn't that terrible? The only clue they even gave that let you know it was a show was that 60 Minutes thing, and that wasn't even very clear.
And it ran on lithium?
I guess it says it runs on dilithium crystals.
Oh, dilithium.
Yeah, so because it said based on.
Okay.
I know they're real. Yeah, and probably not really 60 minutes. With commercials, that was more like 48 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
That was rough.
I was trying to think real world life, but okay, gotcha.
I know. All right. I feel like that one. It's up to you. If you hate these and you don't want to do another one, one of the other one of the three is like a real life thing, not a show. If you want to do it.
Is this like entertaining at all for anybody watching? Just watching
People
me
usually like it.
Really
that was a bad one though.
frustratingly try to figure out something.
I think people love it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Like I watched Star Trek and I had no idea when I read it.
I love Star Trek. I'm a total next gen person.
I feel like the only thing in there was the final clue that even gave you a hint at what it was. Well, it's up to you. We can move on.
Yeah, let's do one more.
We can do one more. Okay.
Let's get some redemption.
All right. Here we go. So Jay asked Brooke for her address to send her a letter. Brooke checks the mail every day, but the letter never comes. She later finds out Jay has been involved in a crash and could not get the letter to her. Jay is not injured, and there's no damage to his car. What has happened to Jay? What kind of crash has happened to Jay? All right. Let me tell you. Let me read the part of this again. So I'm gonna change a little one of the words because I feel like they're trying to be too cute here. Yeah. All right. So Jay asked Brooke for her address to send her a letter, or you could call it
an email.
Okay, you're getting there. So
computer crash.
There we go. Look at that.
Okay.
See, you're good at this. You solved that real quick. Once I pointed out their use of letter like that.
Yeah.
That is a dumb because no one calls an email a letter. Unless you printed it off.
First I was trying to think like letter, like his name is J. The letter J.
I've been disappointed in these lately. When I first started doing these, like everyone was really good and like fun, but lately they've been like, "Come on, what are you doing?" I gotta find a new game. I know. All right, so here we go. We're coming up on an hour. Do you got like 10 more minutes so we can answer? Okay. All right. So here we go. First question. We'll get things warmed up. Nice, easy one. What is your favorite color?
Purple.
Ooh, purple. No one's ever said purple before.
Okay.
Nice. All right. Is that always been your favorite color? Or did something along the way make it your favorite color?
No, I've oscillated between like a deep dark red, like a Merlot or a burgundy, and purple. I like things in that color spectrum.
Yeah. Me too.
Like that dark, deep kind of velvety purple, or like really rich red.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. All right. Next question. What is your favorite food?
Sushi.
Ooh, sushi. All right. Nice. So do you go?
Specifically, I would go a furumake roll.
Oh, okay. So you go to like legit sushi places.
I try to, but
Yeah.
if there's just random sushi, I'll probably try that as well.
Same.
As long as it's
Same.
not a level above grocery store, I'll be
I was
fine.
gonna say it's just hard. Like I used to get the grocery store sushi and think, oh, that's pretty good. Then I went to an actual sushi place, and now it's like, oh, I can't eat this stuff anymore.
It's just so expensive.
Oh, it is.
Uh,
It's so expensive. I have a my pastor's son. He, me and him hit it off a long time ago. So I'll take him out once in a while, and just because he doesn't like to talk to his dad about girl stuff, so he'll always want to go and hang out with me to talk about it. So I'll take him out once in a while, and he's like in his late 20s now, but I still always pay, and he always wants to go to sushi, and I'm like, man, you're getting older. I think it's time for you to start paying because it's so expensive for just two
yeah.
people. It's crazy, but it's so good.
What I really, and this would be like kind of a once in a lifetime experience. I want to go to a really good sushi restaurant and do a omakase experience.
Okay.
But
What's
that's
that?
like, so that's where the chef kind of creates a menu
Oh,
for
yeah,
you
yeah,
and
yeah,
gives you like one piece at a time and really like makes an experience out of it. And
yeah.
it's usually like $150 to $300. Like
Yep. But it'd
this
be
would be
so
a
cool
once in a
though.
lifetime thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome though. That's good answer. I agree. I love sushi. It's up there. Top 3 for
Yeah.
me for sure. All right. Next question. Think back. What was your first car?
I shared a green Saturn coupe, a two-door
Oh,
coupe
okay.
with my brother until I was at a red light and got like just plowed in the back by a
Oh
classmate.
no.
Yeah.
And then it was good. It went bye after that.
Yeah, it's totaled.
Yeah. They're not fixing that.
No.
Oh, nice. All right. What was your first job?
I worked as I mean job. I worked as a bagger
Okay.
for Meyer.
Hey, that
Uh,
was one of my first jobs too.
before that I was like I did some babysitting
Okay.
that I don't know if it a job,
Yeah.
but like
That
I
counts.
started working at 14 at Meyer and I worked through
Yeah.
high school there.
Nice. Oh wow. So you
Meyer's a
stayed there a while.
grocery store for people who
Yes.
don't know.
Up in
Pushing
these
carts in the snow
parts.
and everything.
Yep. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh man, those yellow ropes with the hooks on the end you
Yeah.
put onto the carts to keep them all together.
Yep.
Good times.
No.
No, it was terrible times, especially when it was cold. Jeez.
Oh yeah.
Or raining. It didn't matter. You had to get those carts. Doesn't matter what
Yep.
it's like outside. Alex said that his wife got him that for his birthday last year. You're a
Oh.
lucky man. You got to
That's,
keep her there, Alex.
yeah.
That is awesome.
Congratulations.
All right, so this one is one of my favorite questions to ask. So, let us know either a hobby, an interesting hobby, or a talent that you have, because we know you're awesome at writing. But let us know a hobby or a talent or both that we don't know about.
Um So I grew up in the theater. My
Yeah,
dad was a managing director of. Do you know Circle Theater?
that sounds familiar to me.
It's now on the campus of Aquinas College,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
I know what you're talking
before
about.
it was in a pavilion next to the Ball Zoo.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Um, and so, and you know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
There was a theater there,
yeah.
and my dad used to run that theater. And
Oh, that's
so,
cool.
growing up, like that was my second home. I was moving chairs and things around the theater from the time I could was
Wow,
strong enough to lift something.
that's cool.
So I did like lighting and sound and backstage stuff. I performed a little in high school. Was not great at it, but I have a real love for theater and musical theater and all of
Mhm.
that. That's my first access point to storytelling. I think
Okay,
is the theater.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Did you say you did theater? Did you ever do it in high school for like?
Yeah, in high school, I did like the musicals and stuff like that. I was never a big talent. My acting ability is like slightly better than my singing ability, and my singing ability is not great. But it was fun.
That's cool. That's awesome, man. Do you go to like shows or musicals or plays or anything like that anymore?
Before kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Kids don't want to.
Um,
It's not fun to take kids to those.
no, no. One of my last experiences was I got in because I used to live in New York and in New York City, and now I live in Connecticut and
Yeah.
commute in. But one thing you can do is you can sign up for the lottery for a lot of these shows and get cheap tickets in the front row. It's just really hard to win the lottery.
Yeah.
So I played the lottery for about 2 years for Hamilton, and I
Oh,
finally won, and I got two $10 tickets in the front row to see
no way.
Hamilton.
That's
And
wild.
it was a really cool experience. So that was one of the last shows I saw in
Okay.
person.
Wow. Well, so was JA has a good question here. What's your favorite? Was that your favorite? Hamilton?
I mean, that might be my favorite experience in a musical or in a show.
Yeah.
My favorite soundtrack is Spring Awakening.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's a really, really pretty and haunting soundtrack.
Okay.
It's about, and I got to see that on Broadway as well. That was an amazing show. But it's about like these high school students kind of going through the difficulty of high school, and it's based in Germany, and some kids are going through depression, some kids are dealing with abuse, some kids are just dealing with like first love, but the music is so haunting and beautiful, and uh what's his name, have you ever seen Mindhunter?
Yes.
You know the main actor in that, um Jeffrey, or
Now it's gonna drive me crazy. I gotta look it up.
yeah, but
Minor actor.
I'm sure somebody knows his name. But he originated the role in Spring Awakening on
Oh,
Broadway.
really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So it was just a really great show.
None of these are ringing a bell. There's too many. It's showing every single actor that was ever in Mindhunter. That's not what I want.
Let me see. I can pull it up real quick. Jonathan Groff.
Yes, I guess just got it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty cool.
I think that's probably my favorite soundtrack. But Rent was an early love of mine as well.
Nice. Yeah.
I still can quote most of the soundtrack off the top of my head.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's awesome. That's why I love that question. I never know what I'm gonna get, and that's cool. That's awesome. All right. Do you think? I mean, your kids are pretty young, but have you noticed a little flair for theater, maybe with either one of them?
My youngest is so musical. He's like
That's awesome.
musical to the point of like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a really hard growing up experience, because every surface he can drum on, he drums. And he has a fairly good rhythm.
Okay.
And so like he's broken drumsticks. He has a lot of different drumsticks. We've got him drum pads, but he prefers to flip over his toy bins and drum on those because they make louder sounds.
Yeah.
And so like he loves music. His big thing is demanding music whenever he can. The problem is he gets obsessed with some songs, and you're like, oh gosh, I've had enough. What's something dragon? Come on.
Oh man.
Believer. Imagine Dragon.
Oh yeah, Imagine Dragon.
He loves Imagine Dragon and has let me know that he wants them to be in his band.
That's amazing.
He also has the inflated the inflated ego of a drummer, which will work out for him.
Oh yes, that's will serve him well.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's awesome. All right. Are you now, or were you before kids ever a gamer? Were you ever into video games?
I used to be into video games.
Okay.
At this point in my life, it would be either games or writing, because I just don't
Yep.
have the time.
Yeah, I know.
Um, I would love to play Gate 3, but I know I
Me
would
too.
never write a book over the next year.
I know that
Um,
game would just suck you in.
I I grew up loving Zelda games.
Oh, nice.
Ocarina of Time is still one of my favorite games ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I loved the Assassin's Creed games,
Oh
especially
yeah,
those early games.
yeah. Me
Give
too.
me a good RPG and I'm really into it. But I
Yeah.
was also into like some Black Ops and stuff like that
Oh
too.
yeah. Okay.
Um, but it's been a long time since I've actually sat with a console. I mean, we have a Switch that my oldest plays once in a while.
Uh-huh.
But that's only like Pokemon and things like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's fun, but it's stuff that
Doesn't
I
suck you
can't
in the
get
same.
invested in.
Yeah, yeah. So what you played a lot of different things. Did you what console was like your main go when you were gaming more?
I mean, I always had Nintendo consoles
That's
growing
what I
up.
thought with Zelda.
Um, so I started with like a regular Nintendo. We
Mhm.
had that, and then
Yep.
SES,
Yep.
SNES, and
And then
then
before
GameCube. I had a
GameCube. Yeah.
GameCube for a long time.
Oh yeah, me too.
Um, and then had the divorced parent syndrome of like dad moved out, so he got a gaming system to make you happy. So he had an Xbox over there.
Oh nice.
What was it? Jade Empire, I think it was. There
Oh,
was um there was this really amazing RPG for Xbox
you
that
think it was
that I
Jade
I
Empire?
loved so much. I think it was Jade Empire. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh,
And I
let's
loved
see.
that game. And then KOTOR came out right after that. I loved Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh
Um,
yes, me too.
but Jade Empire
And we're
was,
serious.
yeah,
The cover.
it's one of
I never heard
those
of that one.
early games where you can kind of select your type of warrior
Oh
and build
nice.
out a personality and decide good or bad.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and it was before that was a common thing.
Yeah.
But I love those games. Not much interested in as much in open world play.
Yeah.
Like I want a story.
Yep. Me too.
Um, and so
I
yeah,
know.
there are a lot of games I wish I had time to play. I wish I could
Yeah.
get into um, God of War.
Oh, me too.
Um, but yeah, if I did that, you'd never hear from me again.
No, we need more books from you, man. I know open world, like I love the idea of open world, but when I've
Mhm.
tried to play them, it stresses me out because, like you said, I want a story and I'm trying to stick to the story, but then it's like, oh, this poor old guy sitting over here, someone beat him up and took his whatever. I
Yeah,
gotta help him, and then all these side quests, and I'm like, I gotta do them all now. It's
yeah.
just, it's just insane.
I'm that kind of person that has to do
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
I can't just skip it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember Tales of Symphonia was another game I got
Sales
really
games
into.
are fun too. Yeah.
And then the Fire Emblem series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I love games, but I just have not been able to do it in a long time.
Someday,
Maybe the
someday
kids will
when
be in the
we're
games and I'll be able to play with them.
see, there you go. My
Yeah.
son is 15 and he's getting into games a lot, which kind of sucks because I mean I was not playing before he started playing my PlayStation all the time, but he's always on it, and I'm like, I gotta find some games that me and him can play together so I can play. But same thing though. I mean, there's only so much time in the day. You gotta make your priorities and you gotta cut some stuff out. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
All right. What are some of your favorite movies or shows of all time?
Favorite movies of all time. I have two tied for first place. Warrior.
Nice.
It's just such an amazing movie, and I'm a sucker for um, I'm a sucker for like the redemptive
Oh yeah.
father son and father and brother stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't go too deep into the psychological background of that one.
Yeah.
Um, and then Pan's Labyrinth is my other favorite.
Oh man, I forgot. That's one of those movies that I love, but I haven't
Yeah,
thought of that in so long. That's a good
I
one.
love how imaginative it is, and then
Mhm.
how it brings the realism in there, and
Yeah.
I love the duality of it. It's
Oh yeah.
so good.
How long
Um,
how long has it been since you watched it?
I'll watch it every couple of years.
Okay, I gotta watch it. I
Um,
haven't watched that in forever.
no, I love that movie. And there's some other great ones. Like I love the Into the Spider-Verse movies.
Oh yeah, so good.
Um, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I know
Um,
what you're talking about. I haven't seen it though.
oh, it's
Is it
good.
good?
Galaxy Quest. That's a
Oh
really
yeah,
fun one.
classic. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Once, if we're going for musical, Once is my favorite.
One.
Uh,
Okay.
it was a movie first that that
Okay.
was made into a musical, but
Okay.
it's a story of this like Irish Irish uh, musician who plays on the side of the road trying to earn a couple of coins,
Oh wow.
and his like friendship with this immigrant woman, um, and they're kind of trying to make. I'm a sucker for movies where you make a movie, like make music, like make a CD, create a band or something like that. Not biopics, but like seeing the discovery of something creative happening. And Once has to be one of my favorite movies. The
Oh
music
cool.
is so good.
Okay. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
TV shows, I mean, recent ones are um, Arcane. How can I forget the name right now? The Star Wars TV show. Um,
And Andor, the newer one?
Andor.
Yeah.
Andor is amazing.
Yeah.
The Good Place, I think, is one of the most perfect
Oh
things
yeah.
on TV. That
That is
like
a good one.
I love a series that knows how to end
Mm-hmm.
and tell a story rather than trying to go on
Right.
forever.
Yeah.
And The Good Place was just so perfect for me in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, those are some of the top ones.
Good.
I'd
Those are
have
good.
to think a little bit more about other series.
That's pretty good right on the
Yeah.
spot. Not too shabby. All right. Let's bring it back to wrap it up. Now, you mentioned Name of the Wind. Obviously, that's one of your favorite books. What are a couple other of your favorite books that you've read through the years?
I think my favorite series is the Greenbone Saga.
I got to do that one.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I love the character work in it.
Okay.
Um, I don't think this gives anything away that the series takes place over like 50
Oh, yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the and I have actually an article coming out on FanFi that I did a guest blog on about how it taught me something about character work. Um, but it's so wild to see, especially the character of Hilo, who's
Mm-hmm.
one of the main characters,
Yeah.
grow from this 20-something-year-old kid to this person in their like 60s, and how they're very much the same person, but they've changed so much over the years. And to actually balance that dynamic of having a tether to this person who was somebody very different so many years ago,
Right.
and still see that in them as an older character, but see how much they've changed and how those changes have been earned. um yeah, the Greenbone Saga is a masterful work. um I love the Far Series series,
Mhm.
Far Seer trilogy.
Yeah.
Um, what else? I mean, what's behind me? Oh, how could I forget? The fifth season may be my favorite book.
Wow. Okay.
Um, it's hard because I think N.K. Jemisin is probably the best living writer in fantasy that we have.
Wow.
How
Okay.
However, and so that's on a prose level, on
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just the ability to write a story, communicate a message, and have it
Mhm.
be beautiful.
Yeah.
she's the best we have. She's not necessarily she's not a popcorn read. She's
Yeah.
not an easy, fun read.
Right.
Like you have to be invested to kind of dig through that. And so it can be hard to pick up an N.K. Jemisin book sometimes if you're not in the mood for something that you
Right.
have to dig into and pull apart.
Yeah.
Because she's so like the text is so dense and meaty, and there's so much there. I love her work, but it's also sometimes harder to pick up.
Yeah.
I need to get back into the Liza Locke-Lamore series,
Mm,
The
me
Gentleman
too.
Bastards. I love the first book. I have not read the second two.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I'm currently reading The Will of the Many, which I really like.
Nice.
Yeah.
We jive on a lot of things. All those
Yeah.
books are ones I loved or really, really want to read. So
Yeah.
nice, man. All right. All right. So we will start to wrap it up here. This
Okay.
just flew by, man. An hour and 20
Yeah,
minutes
that's fun.
felt like nothing. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So everybody in the chat and watching on replay, appreciate you, first of all. But Only Grave Will Do pre-order link I have in the description down below. I also have a link to the first two books and your website. And after this is done, I'll go in and I'll add the Broken Binding link that we talked about earlier. So that'll all be in there. But before I go into my closing spiel, I'll give you the floor so you can have it to talk about whatever you want.
Yeah. So hopefully you want to check out the Malitu books. Hopefully I haven't turned you off from that by my rambling. I think I'm really proud of this series of books. If you love deep, intimate character work, I think you're going to love this series. It's full of people kind of surviving very trying circumstances and trying to make the best and trying to do the best with that. So I wouldn't call it grimdark because there's too much hope. There's too much earnestness in trying to make it through. But there are some very dark moments. So kind of a trigger warning with that. I hope you give it a chance, and keep a lookout for other things from me. I'm going to be putting out some work on a fairly consistent basis. So I hope you'll continue to support me along the author journey. It's a big thing with indie authors. Like if it's not me, like find an indie author you vibe with and just continue supporting them throughout the years, because that's the hard thing to do, to build up a readership and keep people coming back for more. And that's what keeps indie authors going. So, whoever it is, whatever you vibe with, find an indie author and support the hell out of them.
Yes, I agree. I love it. Real quick, thank you, Senna, for the super chat. It was a fun chat. Thanks for being here. So thank you, James, so much. This was a blast, dude. We'll definitely have to do it again. Anytime you want to come on, I'd love to have you on, but definitely whenever you have something coming out, I would love to have you on. Thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome. You asked awesome questions. We appreciate you, and everybody watching on replay, we appreciate you too. So we will wrap it up here. Everybody have a fantastic night. I will actually have my next one is going to be Saturday morning at 6 a.m. because SK Hutt, that's just when it worked for him. And I'm actually going out of town to North Carolina to do some stuff at the new house and visit my wife. So I got to leave at like 7 a.m. anyway. So I'm like, all right, we'll just do it. I'm sure no one will be in the chat, but you never know. We might have some early birds. We'll see. So I'll see you then, or I'll see you in the replay. But everybody have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. And until I do, as I always say, divide your TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly. We'll see you, everybody. Have a great night.